You're not getting better at improvising. You feel like you've hit a wall, and no matter what you do, you just don't improve. You wonder if you're just not talented enough and if you should give up completely. Hours and hours of practicing feel like wasted time because you don't see any results. If that's you, this might be just the right video for you, because I'm gonna show you in this video 5 top reasons why you might be stuck in your development. And make sure to watch this video until the end, because the 5th reason is that you might not use one very specific practicing technique that literally all the great improvisers used, but that I often see beginning and aspiring improvisers skipping. The first reason why you might be stuck in your development is that you're not practicing the basics enough. And let's be honest, of course we all want to play freely over tunes, not thinking hard about chord tones, scales, approach notes and so on. But unfortunately, this freedom has to be earned. And it has to be earned by really memorizing correctly the melody of the song, the chords you're improvising over, each of the chord tones, their scales, and so on. And we don't only have to memorize them, we also really have to practice, for example, the chord tones until they're really in our fingers and also our ear. So maybe for you it might be just the right thing to really go back to the absolute basics and only practice improvising with the 4 chord tones of each chord. Or you might go back to your major scales and practice your major scales not only throughout the range of your instrument, but also in thirds, in triads and so on, so you can intuitively improvise with the scales without having to think about them. The second reason why you might not improve as an improviser is that you're not inspired. Improvisation is a creative process, and for this we need some kind of inspiration to get to new ideas and be excited about what we are doing. And luckily there are many different ways to get inspired. One option would be to transcribe a solo from your favorite musician, or if that's too much, you can just transcribe one phrase, for example. Or you might also just put on one of your favorite recordings and play along. Even without knowing the correct changes, you could just try to play by ear. Another possibility is to just listen to some music that you really enjoy, maybe even in a different style, whatever you feel like. And if all of this doesn't help, maybe it's a good idea to just take a few days off and put your instrument aside. The third reason why you might be stuck in the development is closely connected to the second, and it is that you might be just practicing the same stuff over and over again. It might mean that you just practice the same tunes over and over again that you already play since years, or that you skip the hard parts in these tunes and never really focus on the chords that might be more difficult for you to improvise over. To get out of this, try to practice one new tune, or maybe practice one tune that you know well in a different key. Or another option for you is to focus on one specific chord connection that you know is difficult for you and where you maybe don't know all the chord tones right away or the right scale, or what you played just doesn't really work out the way you wanted to. You could also try to pick a tune that is stylistically different to the tunes you usually play. So, for example, you could pick a swing tune like Take the A Train, or you could learn a more contemporary tune, for example, a range shorter composition like Speak No Evil. Before we get to the last 2 reasons, including the 5th reason, where I will show you a concept called slow improvising that I see many aspiring improvisers skip. If you like this video so far and you would like to support me, make sure to click the like button so YouTube will show it to more people, and make sure to click subscribe so you don't miss out on my future videos. The 4th reason why you might not improve as an improviser is that you don't play with other people. Jazz is a social art form and it's all about communicating with each other in real time. The great Joshua Redman, one of the top saxophone players of our times, is often saying that he doesn't really have too many ideas on his own. He usually steals the ideas from his bandmates, for example the drummer, and then builds on that. I know from my own experience that if you only practice at home alone, it can get very boring over time and you just miss again some inspiration. So maybe for you it's just the right time to get together with other musicians and have a session. I can promise you, you will learn a lot from this. You will learn first of all what you're good at and also what your weak spots are. Also, you will get inspired by the ideas that the other bandmates present to you, and you finally test what you practice at home in a real playing situation, which can often be completely different than what you would imagine. If you haven't played with other musicians yet and you're hesitant to take this step, I can completely understand. I also find myself in situations where I feel that I play with people that are better than me, and this can be really intimidating. What I learned helps me most with these situations is to focus on what I will gain from this. And this takes the focus away from how I might be perceived by the other musicians. Now we come to the fifth and final reason, and this is really important. You might not use the concept of slow improvisation when you're practicing. I've talked about the concept of slow improvisation a few times on this channel already, because for me it was really a game changer, and I see that many aspiring musicians just somehow don't really want to practice like this, even though this is a really essential practice method that all the great musicians used. Actually, slow improvisation is a very natural, simple and straightforward concept. What is strictly forbidden for that is to use any kind of play along or metronome. You just improvise very slowly. So you might, for example, take a tune like a blues and just start improvising in a very slow tempo. And as soon as something doesn't work out the way you wanted it to, or you see that you have a weak spot somewhere and you don't know the chord tones or the scale, for example, you stop and you really focus on this spot until you get it right. The magic of practicing like this is that first of all you give yourself the chance to correct when something doesn't go right, so when you play the same idea the next time you're improvising, you exactly play it the right way you want it to. Also, this practicing technique gives you the opportunity to really focus on the details. And often we tend to skip over the details because we don't give ourselves the time to really focus on it. You can also use the concept of slow improvisation to focus on a specific area of a song that you have trouble with. So let's say you practice the standard Stella by Starlight and you want to get better at improvising over the first 4 bars of Stella by Starlight. I know that there is some resistance among most aspiring jazz improvisers to practice like this, but I can guarantee it's really worth it. And how you could start, for example, is to just say every time you practice for 5 minutes you practice like this. For me personally, and also for many of the jazz greats, this is the main way of practicing jazz improvisation. Okay guys, that's it for this video. Thanks for watching. Let me know down in the comments if you have any other reasons that you found are hindering your process. And if you're looking now for something concrete to practice and get better at improvisation, make sure to check out this other video next. Thanks for watching and see you next time.